It's the very first play day between these teams, which means that there's no auto-ban maps. Each team will ban 3, and then the remaining map is one that we are going to play on. So far, we've had no duplicates. Will that continue? Well, we're getting very close, and with Bank gone, indeed, it will be Border. So no duplicates whatsoever. A new map.
Plenty happy with that.
Every single time. Empire is an excellent team on Border. Excellent team on Border. They have played really, really well. Vitality, when a team tends to make the changes that they've made, you can kind of reset their previous success because you don't know what is going to change with both Goga as well as Hungry being added to this roster. I thought that Vitality was going to run much deeper into the qualifiers for 6 Invitational. They did not. I was wrong. Empire, very similar to Na'Vi. We haven't seen much of Empire recently. We've actually seen less of Empire.
That's what I was.
The Raleigh Major.
I was trying to say is like we haven't seen much of anything from them.
We saw that half season right before, or the second half of the season right before Tokonami, and that's been it. They've been eerily quiet.
That's why I was saying earlier is like last thing I can remember from Empire was when they played Pro League last, which was a pretty long time ago.
So we should have a community vote for you, by the way. This one is usually always, whenever Empire's involved, tends to be kind of lopsided, even though the French fans are quite loud, and there's a huge portion of you that think that Vitality is going to be able to conquer Empire, and in this case, still 64% to 30%, and then 6% of you believing that it's a draw.
You know, I mean, Vitality is less French now. I mean, they only have 2 French members.
That's what I said. It's they
yeah,
in a Spaniard and a German, so it's
mixed nationality European team.
It's the EU flag now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's wild to think that when I first came into casting EU, we had 4 French squads.
Oh, Europe was dominated by
like
France.
Supremacy, Vitality, Millennium, and Ares. Or no, Be Genius. It was Be Genius, Millennium, Ares, and Supremacy. Okay. So 4 French teams. You had Penta at the time, which is now G2, which was a mixed team. You had ENCE at the time, which was a Finnish team. I'm trying to think of the other 2 teams that we had at the time.
Well, now you've got...
you had Mysterious Monkeys, which was a German team at the time. And I can't remember the 7th team, and it's just escaping me right now.
Yeah, you've got, like, I'd say 4 or 5.
Oh, it was Snook and Nose. It was Snook and Nose was the 8th and final team. Those were the 8 teams when I first started casting EU Pro League. And Snook and Nose was technically it was 3 Finns and 2 Brits.
And now technically the most like dominant in terms of having actual full teams and not overall nationalities represented, but having full teams that are one nationality. I'd say probably Russia.
It's Russia.
Yeah.
There were no Russian teams until a couple seasons ago. Pretty incredible to think, and now you've got a couple of them. Avanger dropped their roster, but they had a really promising up-and-coming squad. There's a couple other Russian teams that compete in the SI quals, and the CIS region is alive and well within Europe, and one of their teams will be here today competing for all the glory, and that's going to be Empire. They'll be starting on attack. Vitality on defense means that they will get the very first ban, and Border is a wild house.
Then you've got like 1 French team, 1 Scandinavian team, and then everyone else is mix.
I can name all 8 EU teams that were in it when I first started 2.5 years ago.
You've got good memory. Much better than mine. That's pretty impressive. We've got 2 bans already out the gate. Nomad, Capital. No Hard Return, no Thatcher, which is kind of interesting. Usually you'll have a Thatcher ban here or a Thermite ban. Specifically Thermite on Border is very potent as a ban, but not so here. Capital makes sense. So does Nomad. I mean, this is all logical and reasonable, and yes, but at the same time, Thermite being available is going to make this attack a lot easier. Valkyrie seeing a lot more bans lately because okay, let's say that you're playing IQ, right? You know that Echo's in play, or you know that Valkyrie's in play, so you need to bring IQ. It's easier to hunt down a Yokai drone more often than not than it is to find a Valkyrie cam outside. Now there are some spaces where you can put a Yokai drone where the enemy can't shoot it or destroy it, even if you know it's there. Like for example, even on this map, you've got the top of that locker behind the little box. Behind half wall in Armory, where you can put a Yokai drone and they can know it's there. The attack can be plenty aware, but there's no way they can shoot it. They'd have to nade it or hit it with a lifeline, and that's really difficult to pull off. So, that is something to consider, but generally speaking, I would say having a Valkyrie cam go unnoticed outside is much more detrimental to your overall attack. So Valkyrie's being banned a lot more frequently as of late.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Anybody who even plays at a remotely low competitive level will understand how much of a nuisance a Valkyrie camera thrown outside is.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what you said. You don't want to have to be shackled to running an IQ every single round. I mean, you don't necessarily need an IQ for everything else. If Echo isn't banned, you can still do the eye test. Those yokai drones are not as invisible as they used to be. Good point.
Yeah. Looks like Vitality are going to be holding on to Office and defending Tellers.
Yeah,
so
it's a bathroom Tellers defense.
So Tellers is actually really defensible. I think a lot of people don't go to it because it's just not as explored. But Vitality are actually trying to leverage that lack of exploration to their advantage here, trying to catch Empire off guard. Now we know from history, from Empire's past, that they're not the type of team that often gets caught off guard. You're going to throw a Tellers at them, and they'll be able to deal with it, I expect. But there's no guarantee as to that, and we'll see if that is if that's something that Vitality can use to their advantage. This site selection. The way that you defend this site is really simple. You're going to hold it from above. You're going to open up from above as a defensive squad. You're going to set up castle barricades to make taking above more difficult for Empire, or whoever it is that happens to be on the attacking side. And you're just going to try and hold Office as long as you can. If you can hold it for 2 to 2.5 minutes, you're good. If you only hold it for 1.5 or 1, that's going to be a bit of a struggle, because then the attackers can use that top 4 control to attack onto the site.
That's an unfortunate bit of drones lost as Joystick gets... Joysticks rather shoots the drone out, but the opening kill is going to go to Karzeka. Down goes Bibu. Say goodbye to Bibu, and he can be such a force to be reckoned with.
Yes.
It's an unfortunate loss, but Empire gets the opening frag. Bathroom Tellers, we like to say, is a site that can go very quickly. Once you lose control, you often lose the whole site, and it ends up just being an absolute avalanche onto the defenders.
We'll see if Vitality are able to fix that, as they've lost someone early on, so it's going to be even more difficult for them. Empire are only taking what they need, as you can see by the way that they're attacking. They clearly, I mean, yeah, they don't want to take all of Office, it seems. Or they've been dissuaded from that take from something. Not sure what, but they're just not fully pressuring Office anymore. They're deciding to try and mix things up, it seems, by rotating. Over by E-Stairs, so maybe they're making another attempt at Office? I'm not really sure, but they're wasting a lot of time. That's for darn tootin'.
Well, I was going to say, this plodding pace from Empire right now is not it to their advantage whatsoever, but if they can get a hold of Offices, then they've got aerial control essentially over top of the actual site. And that verticality is going to pay dividends. Scyther's not been given the all clear to entry as Karzeka finds Stiggy. You can see there's been some role swaps here for these different members of the teams. Scyther now on the Ashe is not exactly something you see that's all that common.
Joystick on Thatcher.
Yeah, that's usually Dan's role, with Karzeka almost always playing the Zofia, so clearly Empire have changed some things up. Top floor controls finally in Empire's favor, but what are they going to do next? Well, they managed to catch the heel of Bride. He gets punished. Empire haven't lost a single person yet. Karzeka had every single kill. He'll get 4 of them, though. A flawless round, and Empire making mincemeat of Vitality on that very first round.
Yeah, that was pretty dominant there from Empire. Didn't really even seem like much of a question, to be honest. Teller's not working out great for Vitality. One big thing there for Vitality is they lost one player early on, but it's the specific player that they lost that is causing the issue. They lost the guy playing in, well, Suicide, which is the position in Office between the 2 walls that you can hold the triple wall and the radio window from pretty effectively. Once that player was gone, it's hard to rotate another player into that, and so it seems like Vitality just kind of abandoned Office. And it would have maybe possibly worked out because Empire didn't seem keen on taking top 4 control that much. Really? But because of the way that Empire played, as Vitality attempted to rotate, as they attempted to reposition to control their own site, Vitality were torn to shreds by Empire, who had positioned themselves expecting that and cutting off those rotations. So really good awareness from Empire. They knew that Office was not going to be hard held from Vitality for too long. They knew that if they caught Vitality with the pants down trying to rotate out of Office, they'd have a better result than if they tried to actually take Office, maybe get C4'd from below, and maybe lose some players to Vitality expecting them to try and do that. They did, of course, take Office, but they just didn't do much with it. And, I mean, yeah, you can't fault Empire for winning. It was just a weird attack from them. And I think just maybe Empire is just reading really well into how Vitality chose to play that round.
I am curious to watch these roles unfold for Empire. Not having Joystick or Dan on the Ashe, having Karzeka's role of Zofia be in the hands of Dan, these are... I mean, Empire failing to make it to Tokonami, I don't think it was a situation similar to G2. I think they wanted to make it, they just couldn't do it. Then that second half of the season was very punishing to them.
You know what we can say, though?
What can we say?
We can say that while we haven't seen Empire play a whole lot recently, we've already got plenty to talk about because we're seeing all these role swaps. That means that Empire have been practicing rigorously, enough so that they're confident in changing up operators while we haven't been able to watch them. So at least we know that they haven't been asleep in the downtime.
No, there's no way that this team is going to rest on its laurels. We like to say an awful lot, Russian machine never breaks, and in this case, it's going to keep working until it's as fine-tuned as it used to be. That's a hell of a shot from Goga to cut Joystick off of the wire just on the balcony by Armory. Goga was inside of security, and the UMP is not exactly the best gun that you want to be able to duel somebody with, but there you have it. Almost a second for Scyther. Oh, he'll grab it onto Bibu. 2 for him, and Karzeka with another. They snap their fingers, and almost everybody from Vitality is dead. Dual SAS patrol unit of Bride and Hungry will now have to try and stave off defeat. There's not been an Armory defense from Vitality yet. Through 2 rounds, they've been a bit unorthodox with their site selection. It's a Ventilation Workshop T. One member of Vitality upstairs and one below. Crawling on his belly, Bride Hungry above. The smokes can work effectively to choke off the attackers, but there's a lot of coverage that you need on this site in particular that the toxic canisters won't be able to reach. You got to get downstairs if you're hungry at some point. 1 minute left.
Lots of time in a 4v2 for the attack. They're still flush for utility as well, I believe. They're going to be able to use those nades, these stuns on the lifeline to leverage advantage over SAS operators on Vitality. The one thing that Vitality's got going for them is if they manage to get close range engagements, then of course the shotgun SMG-11 combo on both of these players is going to work for Vitality. Hungry will get one from above using the drop down. Unexpected, and Shepard will call that out to his team, so it is expected now. And as Brid goes down in the site, it's all on Hungry. He's going to have to get 3 more kills. He's got Diffuser though, with only 15 seconds. That actually could be the win right there, but as he's peeked from Dan, he'll lose the fight. And Empire take yet another round.
Well played by Empire, as they looked like they were having a little bit of trouble clearing out that second floor. I think the bigger issue was a lack of droning. I don't know about you, but I didn't see much drone or intel work that was happening from Empire in the final minute and a half of that round, which would suggest they didn't really know the positioning of the remaining members of Vitality. And when there's a split defense like Vitality has with one person on that second floor and one below, you can't just really go in as quickly as you want because you'll get destroyed. And that's exactly what happened with Hungry upstairs. He was on top of the hatch. He managed to catch the one member of Empire that was coming through the main doorway in towards Workshop. Down goes Diffuser, and you surrender that Diffuser, and you don't have second floor control. You find yourself in a bit of a pickle. So,
third sight the charm? Does they go to Armory for the first time ever on the 3rd round? It's a bit weird.
It is very odd the way that they're doing this, but I very distinctly remember Vitality playing up against Ensign, having Vitality of old, which was that very slow, sluggish, methodical play, going to a bathroom first and foremost.
Another thing that we're seeing, which has often been repeated, Empire, they're not bringing Thermite on border of all maps. This is a very Thermite-friendly map. In fact, I would say it's one of the best places to ban Thermite on. But Empire are one of those teams that actually, they kind of just don't care about conventional, you know, what's good and what's bad. They've brought Hibana here exclusively, and they've done well in the past, so. Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb and defuse. I don't know, I'm not sure exactly why it is that Empire is so against that Thermite, but they've got their own thought process, and it works for them, so.
They've played Thermite before, but Hibana is a pretty common operator for them.
It is. It is very common.
Oftentimes you can see Scyther play the Thermite or have Shepard on it, and then Scyther will play the Hibana if they want to bring more than one Hard Preacher, which you don't usually do on border.
I expect it'll be different now, given that Empire have changed their roles up so much. Was that an unreinforced armory wall?
Yeah, this is something that Vitality did previously when they were defending down below it. They reinforced one panel of the wall. But as you can see, this is a very deep fallback strategy from Vitality. They've shot out the entire floor of small office. They have the ability to see if somebody pushes up too aggressively, but Empire's just going to go in.
They don't care about this fallback position. Scyther's trying to get the aggressive play. He's got the mark and he'll get the kill. Brig goes down. Armory control all in Empire's hands. There's a second for Scyther. Will it be a third? The answer, no, as he switches to the pistol. The second attempt gets nothing, but luckily for Scyther, he didn't die on that peak. Karzeka gets Bibu, and it's all on Stigs and Hungry. Siggy trying to push into break room. He's shut down by Dan, who's cutting off rotation. There goes Scyther, so no more kills for him. Nice shot from Hungry, but will he be able to get the ace? No, it doesn't seem so. Joystick locks things up. No flawless round for Empire, but I gotta say, without reservation, that was a terrible setup from Vitality, and they need to put a little bit more emphasis on their armory hold.
I mean, you read it correctly, didn't you? You read it correctly. You see that they've fallen so far back.
Yep.
A lot of the setup that we saw from Vitality was expecting an Office's take, which, if you remember, old Empire used to almost exclusively take from offices.
That's true. That's a really good point.
Empire almost always took from offices. Now, there have been some changes made, and specifically these role changes as well. It was the Russian League. We don't know if Empire was making these changes permanently, or if they were just making them because it's the Russian League. You don't necessarily need to show everything. They were playing, would they play against fours, I think, in the finals, if I remember correctly. I will say that at the time that league was going on, I wasn't watching it.
I gotta say another thing too. I mean, if you're basing your understanding of Empire off of what you saw last from them, it's outdated. It's so far back. You just can't be doing that. So if you're setting up exclusively for an office take, if you're that rigid on your setup, you're gonna have trouble. And Vitality, they had trouble. They're gonna correct that. This time around, they will reinforce Armory. And I'm guessing that they're gonna play a little bit more, in the Armory bomb site. I also gotta say, that was amazingly slow reaction time from Vitality. After they lost the first player in small office, they took way too long to react, way too long to adjust, and Scyther punished. And the reason why Scyther was able to punish is because there was a drone calling out for him. He's like, "There's no one in Armory." Scyther says, "What?" And then whoever's droning from says, "Yeah, no one in Armory." He's like, "Okay, I'm going." Scyther goes in, double kill, round's over, done. Not much more to talk about.
Scyther saw that entire opening on the map, and you know what he said to himself, Michael?
Did he say, "It's for real estate"?
It's been so long.
They're giving it away.
Come get your damn land.
Oh, man. Yeah, no.
That's really what Scyther did. Scyther saw it, and he's like, let me take this.
So good on whoever called that for him. Because there was definitely someone droning. We even saw the mark come out. Armory wall open. Again, it's just the Habana hole, but Empire's always managed to make that work for them. They're even going to use one of their Excaro sets somewhere else entirely so that they can cut off rotation on 90. I mean, you gotta get it all, right? Tiny little hole there in the wall, but it's enough for Empire usually. Ooh, Jaeger droned out. Small office also droned. Jaeger downstairs killed by Joystick. What is that call? Joystick hears there's one underneath looking up at the window, and he gets the kill on him instead of avoiding peeking. Sticky goes down, and now Vitality, worse for wear on the Armory hold. Once again, a very far back hold here, as they've got Hungry behind a shield, hoping he can hold it all.
This has been a level of domination that we haven't seen in quite some time, and usually isn't appropriate for a game that's even rated M for mature, Michael. So Scyther's inside a site. Bibu refrags. As long as Bibu's in play, you've got a good fighting chance in Vitality, and Scyther will expend all that magazine as best as he can. Plant going down. Smoke canister still goes off. It'll push Scyther back, but Shepard will be successful in his endeavor. The diffuser goes off. The job that Vitality has to do is going to get even tougher. Empire watching very patiently. They just need to guard that diffuser. They'll take Bibu down. You'll have to funnel on in, as that's an unfortunate team kill from Goga. Scyther just wasting as much time as possible. He's got the cross on Sandwich if need be, but what was a 4v2 is now a 2v2. Pushed up is the Bandit, and Bride is the clutch master supreme when it comes to Vitality. Upside down repel from Shepard. Should be able to see the Bandit if he goes for the long arm defuse. But you can't see him. Dan is the one that's going to have to connect with this, and he gets one. Bride falls off, but Shepard gets the refrag, and Empire, it's a bit of a scare, but they'll take the round 4 in a row. Vitality, so close, but so far.
Oh boy, Empire, what a round. But more just Vitality, what the heck? I mean, a couple things happened there. First of all, I think Hungry was the one who got team killed. Not entirely sure it was him. Somebody on Vitality got team killed. Another thing, I don't know if you noticed this, Parker. Hungry picked up a shield in the middle of a gunfight. He fat-fingered picking up his shield. That was hilarious. Either that or he, for some reason, really wanted a shield in his pocket, but I knew he picked it up. You could hear the undeploy sound. He's like, whoosh, put it down. I'm sure he was panicking when that happened, by the way. He's like, whoa, no! And nobody capitalized on that. Nobody killed him when he was picking it up, but that's just really funny. And then the team kill. So apart from that, Sticky gets picked down below. And that's the crazy thing. Empire, so good at their information gathering that they didn't even need to clear downstairs in any deliberate fashion. They just passively got a kill on the player downstairs. They don't have to relocate 2 people underneath and drone them in to get Sticky. They just shoot them from rappel. Done. Now we can continue attacking onto the site. And that is one of the reasons why that round felt so fast. Is because Empire are taking the problems that usually cause a lot of teams grief. They'll slow down your attacks, like opening up the armory wall, like clearing out the roamers underneath, pushing into half wall, dealing with the person on half wall. Either the problem doesn't exist because Vitality's not employing it, or Empire's dealing with it so quickly that it's almost like it didn't even happen in the first place. It's partially Vitality playing poorly, partially Empire on point.
Empire playing very on point is what I would say as well. I mean, this is formidable. And they've changed up some things, like we said. They've had some minor role swaps, as seen in the Russian league, but more than that, it's also that they're not attacking from the same direction. That goes a long way, that unpredictability factor, even those small changes. Sometimes they're enough, right?
I think they'd read that they needed to make a format change after last season when they finished 4th.
Yeah. Stiggy's going to be involved in the conflict that will immediately happen if Karzeka pushes this.
Such a good drone spot here, and this is a pretty common one.
And he's spotted as well. Down goes Bride. Scyther gets felled. He'll get traded off. Karzeka gets the read correctly. There was a member of Vitality there for a refrag, but Karzeka gets out as quickly as he can. He's not going to be able to put that drone in position the way he wants to, as he'll be thwarted by a pest that's on the door frame. So Vitality, once again, trailing.
All set to blow it up.
Well, you've got Goga, Bibu, and Hungry. Some really formidable players left on Team Vitality. It's not over. Now, I mean, you look at Vitality's lineup, honestly, you would say that is a powerhouse. You know, look at all the names on that. You've got such formidable players here. Bibu's one of them. He's going to get Karzeka. You'd expect this to not be a 4-0 is the point I'm trying to get at right now. Even if it ends up a 4-2 for this first half, Vitality are still on the back foot. Joystick starting to pressure the site with Shepard. Front door open. Ventilation window open. You've got the chance to just entry the site here right now. 1 player on servers, 1 above, 1 deep in workshop for Vitality. That's not a lot of control on the B-bomb site. The player on the server is going to have to do some work on the entry from the front door. He might be able to see that angle and pick off someone as they attempt to push in. But actually, it'll be a drop there from whoever that is. I believe it was Hungry. He'll rotate over to the hallway, try to get a crossfire on the front door.
Empire is in very dear risk of stalling out as we watch the timer just continuously go farther and farther down.
It's a lack of information gathering.
They don't look, once again, it doesn't look like they have any drones.
It's the mute Mozzie combo.
And it's doing so well to snag those utility away and the info away. Dan finds Hungry, so, well, you got 1. Oh. What a play by Dan! Goga swings on him, and now Bibu is a man, I believe you called them before, on an island. Shepard tasked with getting the diffuser down. Across from Bibu onto Joystick. 1 second left, and he won't be able to get any more. Dan, the final 3 kills for his team, leading the way, and it is a match that is absolutely lopsided at the moment. 5-0 for Empire.
So I gotta say, Thing number one, bring Mute Mozzie against Empire frequently.
Yes.
Really, it is a super powerful combination and against a team like Empire. Thing number two, even if you do that, even if you take away Empire's information, they can recover. Thanks to great individual play and gun skills. Like, for example, what we saw at the end of that round from Dan. That was a situation where I definitely think Vitality could have taken that. They were in a good position to do so, considering Empire was struggling with their information. They were slowing down their take because of that. But Dan just pulled out the clutch.
Which is a big part of what we've seen out of Dan.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those players. I think he's been a great addition to Empire ever since he was added ages ago. Wait a minute, hang on a second. I'm just thinking about it.
What do you think about?
Is every player on Empire except for Dan a consistent mainstay since they entered into Pro League? They haven't changed anything else, have they?
Shockwave was the only change they made.
And that was Dan. So they haven't changed anything since they entered Pro League. That is actually a lot of consistency, and it's truly impressive, mainly because they were actually, like a year ago, they were just a recent addition. Usually when you get a new team into Pro League, that whole roster gets shuffled around.
Yeah, I definitely can't think of at least like every NA team that's done that.
Every single NA team, yeah. When an NA team qualifies for Pro League, what they do is, first of all, they usually get an org. Second, they shuffle 2 to 3 players off over...
They've been importing them now.
Yes, they're importing them from Europe.
They are importing them now. So here's your...
Got to get some of that Europe.
There are 3 steps to North America. Step 1, get to relegations, drop as many players as possible, pick up better players, qualify for Pro League, and then get a new org, a nice new shiny org, and then step 3, import talent from Europe.
Yes.
There you go. That's... And NA thought they were safe here.
And if they can't get any Europeans, they still replace some players.
Somebody. They still replace most of the team. And then it's not even the same. It's not even the same. At that point, it's not even the same.
It's not the same team.
Not the same team.
We didn't. So, well, the point I was trying to get is we don't see that with like Empire, for example, who's only changed one player since they got to Pro League, and Dan has been such a formidable player.
I know there's going to be people who are going to say this. They're going to be like, well, Rogue and EG barely manage, and that's kind of true. They barely manage changes as well.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, well, okay, we're kind of generalizing as a joke.
Yes, it is. This is fully a joke. For the people who are going to get sensitive and get upset by it, it is 100% a joke.
Play the laugh track, please.
You know that Bartosz is like going to hear the play the laugh track and he's going to add.
Actually, yeah, he's like Googling laugh tracks right now.
And he's going to add like the laugh track test.
He's going to hit the button.
This is going to be the best one.
Oh, no, please don't do that. Oh no, not again!
Noga with the second team kill.
No!
2 rounds.
Stop it.
Unideal, but Stiggy is able to at least somewhat recover the round by eliminating Karzeka. Karzeka as the Buck has been so good so far, not just in terms of what he's been able to bring with the Buck, the Skeleton Key, but as you can see, he's top frag on the team. So big thanks to Marcio for illuminating that for all of us.
Scyther has been just tip-top on this entry, but as Brit gets joystick, thanks to there not being a Nomad air jab, because she's banned, that's going to be Vitality back in the man advantage. Brit did lose a lot of HP on that run out, though, to be fair, so it's not exactly over for Empire. And Scyther's still alive. He's really, like I said, been tip-top on the entry. He can make some magic happen down here. Dan's still alive, too, and he'll pick off Stiggy, who's attempting to rotate downstairs. The entry here from Scyther. There's one by Lockers, one by the B-bomb site. Plank going down. B-bomb site eliminated. Lockers lit up. Smoke coming out. Pre-fire will down the player at Lockers. That's Hungry. It's all on Brid. He's got a bullet of HP, and in the post-plant, he has to either pick up his teammate or go for a hard clutch by himself. This is fighting for match point right now for Team Empire. The cross has just been called. Dan knows where both of these players are. Hungry's been picked up, back in the fight, but still on low HP because he's only got 20 after that pickup. Shepard will get one. Single bullet. That's all it needs. Oh, missed shot from Scyther. The second will miss as well. Hungry gets one, but not anymore. And Shepard, final kill. Empire, match point in the first half.
This level of domination will get you banned from probably half of the countries on Earth.
Yeah, so if you took everyone on Empire right now and you put them in ranked and you changed their names, Hacker is all you're going to hear in the chat.
That wasn't quite the joke I was making.
Oh, wait, what were you making?
Doesn't matter. I didn't do
I actually didn't fully hear it. What was it? Repeat it, please.
I'm not repeating it.
Repeat it, Parker.
You go play it back. You play it back.
I'm not going to play it back.
No, I'm not going to say it again. All right, I'll say it again.
What is it?
I said this level of domination will get you banned from half the countries on Earth.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yes.
So we'll switch sides and we will go up to Armory Lockers and Archives with Vitality in free fall and Empire absolutely slaughtering them. Now, keep in mind that the team that is sitting in first place is their fellow countrymen of Fours, who are up 7-3. The tiebreaker that determines where you are on the standings is going to be your head-to-head matchup against the other teams. Since Fours and Empire have not played each other, it simply comes down to who has the best round differential.
Right.
A 7-0 would be better than a 7-3, obviously.
Yeah, well, because the round differential, that'd be really good to get up. And we already talked about this earlier today, but I'll remind. Usually these matches at the beginning of the season are some of the most important by far. Often there is more emphasis placed on the matches at the end of the season because they are perceivably more important because that's when things are starting to lock up. But actually, I would argue that these matches, again, at the start, where everyone's a little shaky, everyone's just kind of getting back into the flow of things, often you'll have major mistakes made, like, for example, what we saw at the beginning of today with Na'Vi, who faltered pretty heavily despite everyone, well, not everyone, despite 76% of people expecting them to win. They faltered pretty heavily against Fours, who managed to get that win, and again, as you said, standing first right now. And that sort of match, that sort of falter, it's the sort of thing that even if you pick it up later in the season, it's gonna work against you for the rest of the season. I mean, that's just how it works. And these are rounds and matches that are ripe for the picking for anyone who's ready for it. And Empire is certainly ready. Vitality or not. We've established that. They're team killing each other. These defenses have been pretty lackluster. They'll start off good in this round at least. And that's attack, so maybe the second half is better for them.
That is only the second round where they've gotten the opening pick. Technically, they got the opening pick the previous round, but the actual opening pick was against them because they team killed themselves.
Yes.
So, but then they got the kill immediately afterwards onto Karzeka. Most importantly, Team Empire have lost their Echo, an excellent role that you will need to be filled by somebody else in the closing seconds of a round, if it gets that far. Down goes Joystick as well.
Wow.
So Vitality are just going hunting.
So, all right. Vitality trying to not let this be a flawless match. The 7-0, again, that's going to put Empire strongly in the lead, and it'll take a lot of work to get caught up to them if they can get the 7-0 established early on. But it's still not done yet. Vitality haven't managed the round just yet. We've got half the round transpired. They're set up well to execute onto Armory. It looks like they want to do a repel in through Sandwich window, which is quite interesting. You could tell that is the plan because they've got Diffuser on Goga, who is repelled for Sandwich. So he's got to go for a plan at some point. And as we come down to the last minute, that's probably going to be pretty soon here. This is dangerous. Just tell him to move, Hungry.
C4 waiting to happen. And this Vitality team has been unfortunate with their team kills. Karzeka gets finished off. Stiggy picks up his second kill. And, well, the dogs of Vitality are hungry right now.
Yeah.
Licking their lips as it's Shepard and Dan in a 2v5. We've seen Empire get away with this before, but never like this. Plant going down over by Sandwich. Coverage on the window. Dan will juice himself up. Shepard finds Stiggy as the diffuser goes down. And a run out as he finds yet another. It's a 2v3. No way Empire is going to be able to get away with this on Repel, but the C4 or the Claymore goes off, and the Doc's not going to be able to do it as both Goga and Bride are there. Through the clutch, Vitality is able to pick up one round. Is it enough? They're going to have to go perfect in order to draw.
I actually think that Empire could have won that, maybe, if they had known that the plant was in Sandwich.
Yeah.
Because you saw that the Doc there, if he had rushed that into Sandwich, he could have denied it pretty easily. Even though there's somebody on Repel, I think that was a possible deny. But not so. They thought it was by half wall. Empire losing too many players early on. I really liked the way that Vitality dealt with the player in lockers. You might have noticed they ashed below and double naded above lockers. So there was no potential anyone in that position could have been alive. They didn't want to leave anything to chance. And that is why they were going for a Sandwich plant instead of a half-wall plant. Because if you can deal with the guy at lockers, you can plant Sandwich if you can cover it still from Repel. It's an interesting strategy from Vitality. It's a little bit lopsided when you compare it to something more conventional, what you're used to, which is one player on Sandwich Repel, and then plenty of Claymores or air jabs to prevent the runouts, and then just everybody else takes it through Armory Wall. That's pretty commonplace. Maybe even place one on Ventilation Balcony, hold the long angle, or on the East Balcony to hold that very same long angle from a different position, and you can cut off rotation, or from break room on a long angle through the hallway. You got choices on your kind of periphery positions, but the main thing is Sandwich Repel, Armory Push, a little bit different from Vitality, which is always very interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, your good start from Vitality. They were able to clean up, and Empire, I think, showed them a little bit too much, especially that opening pick on the Scyther. Stiggy got away with murder by being able to take out the Echoes so quickly, and that was just sloppiness from Empire. But also, Vitality have sped things up an awful lot, and with these role swaps they've had with the 2 new members that have come on, they're showing a level of aggression that we haven't really seen from Vitality up until, I don't know, 6 months ago when they really overhauled that roster.
The thing that I'm noticing is that there's definitely a problem with communication. We saw in the last round, I feel it was Hungry who was trying to set up a nade, and Goga was constantly in his face on Habana. And I said it live when it was happening. It's like, just tell him to move, Hungry. And what that tells me is that their comms are muddied. Maybe too much being said at once. And so it's really hard for someone to say, hey, could you please move so I can nade? So that's a couple things. It's one, synergy that hasn't been built up. Now, does that mean that this team isn't cohesive? No, it just means that they haven't had enough time. So give them some more. 2 roster changes in a very small window is a lot to take in at once. So it's going to take this team, I think, a little bit more time to fully build up their synergy, and they'll get there if they commit.
And it is a perfectly fine question to ask if they're all communicating in English. To what level are they able to communicate?
Yes.
And that's been a stumbling block from a number of teams. We've heard it in the past when teams have switched to speaking one native or one tongue that is not their native tongue. There have been stumbles with how they communicate with each other, whether it be the speed in which they're able to communicate, etc. It is a very fair question to ask.
For a lot of people, it's the problem is like when you've got your native tongue and you know another language, you have to translate the thing in your native tongue to the other language you're trying to call it in. And in a match, or in a game like Siege, those milliseconds that it takes can often be really bad.
Right, exactly. And that can really speak to the level of coordination that is or is not present on Vitality's end. But
it all speaks because they're a new team.
That also could be the truth. They haven't really done all that much just yet. Bibu's going to get punished from what appeared to be a jump out over on top of Vents, but no, it actually wasn't. He doesn't know where he got blasted from.
I think it was the player on server?
I believe it was. It might have been Scyther doing some major damage, or even Shepard there as well. Empire just waiting. Arm shown of one defender, but Hungry cannot hit the shot onto the Mozzie of Karzeka nestled deeply inside of the site. 40 seconds left. It's the matchup on the line. 3 points for Empire on the table. Vitality will find the opening pick. It's Joystick. It's a great operator that you want to take out of the equation. On the Jaeger, he's very strong, but Goga lines up perfectly for Scyther. Both frag grenades go in. Shepard will re-engage. He knows that it's going to be a fight to the death. Bibu trades off onto Scyther. Shepard is there, doesn't know his positions. The pulse is sequestered in the back of the site. We'll have to push up at some point. Karzeka from above in excellent position. He sees one. Dan's there as well, so Karzeka gets the pick. Diffuser is surrendered, and Vitality, despite having a massive health advantage, will have to walk right into the Lion's Den. Plant going down next to Shepard. He'll get the pick. One body left onto Bride, and Dan gets it. Empire almost flawlessly does it. 7-1. An embarrassing start for Vitality. But man, oh man, Empire look as good as ever. They'll sit atop the EU leaderboards as we conclude our first day of Pro League.
And the Russians are dominant. Fours and Empire all sit atop. That is a great place for them to be. Of course, the 9 Russians and single Estonian.
Yes.
Technically, with Karzeka.
Speaks Russian, though.
Yeah, he speaks Russian. But yes, Team Empire, a really big win there, and now we know who is top in Europe, at least for Playdate number 1. Of course, we're only just starting. There will be another Playdate even in this very week. So
there will be another Playdate in a couple hours, as North America will be playing in about 3.5 hours or so.
Yeah, and for EU, just 2 days or something like that. So we'll be there soon.
Other great thing, the pilot program skins. Being shown off, we had 4 of the 8 teams today with pilot program skins. 3 of them won. Na'Vi was the lone pilot program team that did not make it. If you play Rainbow Six and you were interested in supporting your favorite teams, you will see in every single region, all 4 of our regions, there are pilot program skins. In EU, that means Na'Vi, that means G2. Why are you making that face?
No reason. Don't worry about it.
That means Empire,
Continue.
And that means Rogue. So you've got 4 teams here.
Yes.
You can feel free to support whichever one you like. We'll talk to Empire, as we'll bring up the interview for you. Joystick, it's been so long, my friend. How are you?
Fine.
Congratulations on your victory today. How do you feel?
Thanks. Fine. Like always. It was first match versus Vitality like in the previous season, and we feel ourselves confident on border, so nothing to tell.
Now, we talked about your play on Border, and the last time that we really saw you play on Border, you took often from Office and East Stairs. You also changed up a couple roles, as we'd seen that you'd done in the Russian League. Did these role changes happen after your performance last season, or were these role changes that you feel are just you're more comfortable on?
We know that we can attack just from main breach and from CCTV, and it was so easy versus them, I guess. And we know their position, we know what they're doing, so that's why we choose attack from CCTV. We have both attacks, so.
Did you expect Vitality to play as fast as they did on attack, and how did you read them on defense? Because this is a very different Vitality than from what we've seen before in previous seasons.
Yeah, that was the problem, because we didn't know how they play in attack, and we play only 2 rounds in defense, I guess. So we just wait for them, don't peek, don't do anything. But I think their style didn't change a lot, because they as well do some slow strats, and they just waiting for you when you try to pick them and do a mistake. They're waiting for you.
Now, you had a number of months off since you didn't qualify for Tokonami. You didn't need to play in the qualifiers. What did you as a team do during that time period to improve upon what happened to you in the last season of Pro League?
We just practice a lot every day, like always. We didn't change anything. We just practice, and playing a lot as we can. So that's all.
And it's obviously shown. You won 7-1. Last question for you is actually going to involve the CIS region and Russia as a whole. You were the first major Russian team to step onto the scene, and since then there's been a flourish in talent. How does it feel to have blazed that path forward for the rest of your countrymen?
We just want more Russian teams in Pro League, and we love that Force came here, and yeah, that's all. We didn't... I don't know what to say, anything. We're just happy that Russian teams can play as well as other teams from other regions and other countries, because, yeah.
So we should expect more of a Russian takeover, is what you're saying?
I think no, right now 2 teams. I think. Well, I think that's all for this year.
That's some motivation for the rest of the Russian squads in that case. Anything to say to your fans and the viewers at the end of this interview?
Of course, we love you all, and don't forget to tune for us and buy our skins and other skins from the other teams. Yeah, that's all. Good night.
Thank you very much. It was great speaking with you.